Hi everyone, welcome back. Okay, today we've got a couple of things going on. Dylan's going to be dropping around in a little while and he's going to get through priming the outside of the bonnet and boot lid on the XK for the final time so we can let it sit and then lock it back. And I'm going to be mucking around with the front of the XA today. I'm going to try and get the hoses sorted out for the AC. Where they are, you won't be able to put the factory driving lights for the GT GS type grill in there. So we're going to disconnect that, run through for how you find where the original mounting points were for them, because there is actually witness marks in the front rad support for it. And then what we've got over here is pretty much a full kit that you can get from Rare Spares. They've got a wiring loom for the driving lights. It's copied off factory OE, your two driving lights, mounting hardware for the reinforcing plates. Have to have those if you want to go in the right spot, because you can use them as a template to find where they actually go, mounting hardware, and the brackets for the lights. So we're going to get in, have a look at this, and go from there. Okay, we will mention also that we double check to make sure there is no gas in the system, and yeah, you'd never want to go and undo those without double checking that first. Leave that there for now, and it's this one. Alright, so we've got those off there, and we're going to have to look at rerouting those. And the whole idea of going through all of this at the moment is so I pretty much want the car to be, what would you say, how it's going to be before we strip it down to actually put paint on it. So air conditioning hooked up and running, power steering conversion that we're going to do hooked up and running and plumbed, hoses where they need to be, final decision on the air intake for the car, because I do want to put a tunnel ram on it. So if that's the case, nothing gets done bodywork wise till we've got the tunnel ram mounted on it so we can work out the hole cut for the bonnet and whatnot. So yeah, so that's why we're going to get driving lights mounted, grille modified, reroute all the AC lines, and then obviously new condensers, hoses, stuff like that when it's finished. But we're going to get it rigged up with the stuff as is first so we can dummy it and make sure it all clears. Alright, so I'm going to get a light down in here so I can see because it's dark as, and we'll try and find where these witness marks are and we'll show you. Okay guys, so rare spares being rare spares and giving you absolutely zero ideas of how to fit this stuff. I've never owned an XA Falcon with driving lights or a Fairlane, so this is all just winging it and going by photos that I've been able to find online. These brackets that they make for the driving light brackets aren't marked left or right, but they are handed. And the reinforcing plates, they're not marked because they aren't handed, they'll go either way. But you could mount it that way, sorry, could go that way, or that way, which will also put your driving lights in the wrong spots. These could go that way, or that way. And again, we'll put your driving lights in the wrong spot. So then you go, well, the grill we're using isn't original. It's going to be a mock-up one or a made-up one. So the rings they give you to glue in or bond in, they realistically can only go in one spot. Although every GT/GS grill we've looked at in the last couple of months that people have had online to sell, the gap over here between the driving light and the headlight is nearly 20 mil different from passenger side to driver's side, which I don't know how they can do because those rings have got cutouts in them where they have to slide in to clear the reinforcing. So if you look at that one there to there, they're pretty much the same. So I haven't physically measured them yet, but they, by eye, that's where they should sit with the Rios. So what we've done is loosely set the grill up in there. We've had the driving light rings put in there, so that will give us an idea on where these brackets are going to go. And what we've worked out is the brackets, the holes go to the outside of the car and up, and the driving light bracket is an actual hanging bracket, not a standing bracket. So then that sits down in there. We'll get into showing you where they line up with witness marks in the rad support in a second, but then that drops the driving light to the middle of the hole, or where the hole will be. So now that we've got that sorted out, I'll take the grill out of the way so we don't break it, and I'll show you where the driving light brackets go. Okay, so like we said, that part of the rad support is where the bracket's going to mount. The reinforcings go that way, so the bolt holes are outboard and they go from the inside. But these witness holes here, where the self-tappers screw into, will give us a reference point on here where we have to drill. And when we look at this side and get a light on, where are we now? So the factory has pop marks there, there, down there, and behind this rubber I think there was one further out there. So we can take our bracket, now that we know which way it's going to hang, position it where it's going to fit. So the lower hole on the outer is going to line up with that witness mark there. We can drill those, mount those, and then sit them on the inside, and that'll all go there. And that plate is designed to reinforce the rad support, so with the weight of the spotlight sitting on there, it doesn't vibrate and crack. So I'll get this bracket apart now. I'll mark those with a paint marker and we'll get back into it. Right, so we've got those drilled in there and they line up with the corresponding holes on here. That should now hopefully clear there. Have to make those holes a little bigger so the soft tappers can pass through. Yep. Okay, so the reason we want those big enough that the bolt will pass through, or the soft tapper will pass through, is we want the soft tapper to bite tight into the plate, not actually the rad support. So that way, it'll actually do it tight. So if we do here, so we're going to put 2 of those in for now, and then that'll give us a guideline where to mark the holes for the driving light brackets to bolt into. Bottom one kind of lines up. Got to drill it out a little bit bigger that way. Missed it. Alright, I'll just square that up. Okay, so we'll pop you off here. How does this work? So, they're the factory locations for the self-tappers to go through and hold the Rio plate to the back of there. And that's your Rio plate sitting there. Now the bracket that comes through for the AC condenser, we just had to nick that back a little bit because that's just a little bit of check strap that they've got in there. We'll probably make a bit of a neater bracket mount up set up when we do it properly, but that'll do. We've just got to mark these two holes here for the driving light pod to bolt onto, and we'll pull that plate back off, drill those through and go from there. Okay, so this is what it should look like on the passenger side. So now all we have to do is the exact same thing over here. Although this one, for some reason, I'm struggling to find where the witness marks are. But I might get some sandpaper out and give it a bit of a rough up and see if we can find something. Alright, I'll put this back up on the stand and we'll go from there. Alright, so we've finished up for the weekend. We've got the lights mounted. And we finally worked out how they're supposed to sit to get them on the right plane for when the grill goes in, because rare spares being rare spares give you zero information on anything that they've made and zero fitting instructions. So without having a factory one to copy, it was trial and error. But those Rio plates make it so much easier to fit up. And when you work out that the two holes for the bracket studs that come through go outboard on the car on both sides, that then lets you work out why there's two sets of holes for the self-tappers to come through top and bottom. Now those bracket plates aren't stamped left and right, they're not marked left and right. They make one bracket to do both sides, and that's why there's two sets of holes. So when you flip it over, they're the right way around. And it sits the driving lights at the right height. So that's down in there. And there was factory, what would you call it, divots, pop marks in the rad support. If you dug around far enough, you could actually find them. They were a little bit disguised on this side, they were a bit buried under stuff. But see if we can get a light. The passenger side on this car was a lot easier to work out. Try and get a light up here. So yeah, all factory fit up. No extra holes. The wiring kit they sell for it is pretty ordinary. So we're going to do our own. But that gets the lights with the right spacing, so there's no guessing when it comes to doing the grill, and not ending up with a grill like all these other ones that are on the marketplace with really weird spacings on the actual headlights for some reason. So we've got one hose on the aircon that won't work. The low pressure line had a 90-degree fitting off of there going down. We're going to convert that to a straight barb fitting coming out, and that'll get the low pressure line to go out through the original hole it was and up to the compressor. So that's one fitting to change for now, and that'll let us gas it up, run it, and just check for any components in the AC that aren't going to work. And I'm probably going to mount, when we go to wire up these fog lights, mount a power fuse box either side, one side of the battery, I'm not sure, we'll sort that out later, and a bank of relays for things like thermo fans, the driving lights, possibly the power steer pump that we're going to run on this one when we do the conversion. I'm not 100% certain on what that's going to need for current draw, but that's at another time. We're going to try and graft an Astra pump into the inner guard. So down in here, we've got the headlight rings and trigonite rings, whatever you would like to call them. So when you look at these rings that come from Rare Spares, there's again no marking for left, right, top, bottom, but you've got these reinforcing braces in the grille on the top, and then the offset spacing for the thick and progressively thinner fins. So once you work your brackets out on the driving light brackets, it's not going to drop. You can actually get it with the correct spacing from left to right. So now we know where they have to sit. So the next step, after I finish the wiring, the hose and the fuses on that engine bay, we're going to get in, cut them out, bond the rings in, and obviously go through and repair the cracks and broken areas on this grille. And again, we're not trying to build a GT replica as such, or clone. We're more going to go for, don't know what you call it, I suppose a Fairmont GS / Fairmont GT type thing. So a few of Dylan's bits and pieces over here for the XK. Bonnet and the boot lid over in the corner, all sitting in high fill, ready to bolt onto the car and gap so we can then block it all in one unit. And he just got a coat of gloss black on the hinges as well for the bonnet. Alright, that's where we're going to leave it for now. Through the week we're going to try and get in and get some work done on the rest of those driving light fit up, and we'll bring you along with that one. So for now, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.